Good afternoon, everyone. This is the IT Live pregame show. It's brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. This is where we just hang out and chat the hour before the game. Real chill time. I'm joined by Coach Dub and Lando from the Lando Show. Go check out his channel or his TikToks, all that stuff, guys. We are going to preview the matchup for UTEP, but mostly it's the coach speak that we're going to give you here. It's about us, fellas. And it really is about us. I'm going to show you guys some things that are, I want everyone to prepare themselves. They're not positive things, but they're things that just have to get fixed. And you have to do it well versus bad teams, just period. So that's going to be the big thing that we're talking about.
Anybody who hates that discussion, real quick off top, by the way, would have hated my preview if I didn't have a double ear infection this week that prevented me from actually making one, because I would have said the same thing. And I actually did say it before last week. It's just the reality right now, whether we want to agree with it or not, man. There's things that they got to work on. So low-hanging fruit, settle that stuff, raises your floor, and then look towards SEC play.
1,000%. AJ, Georgia Tech is taking it to Clemson. Yeah, Clemson just tied it up, though. Yeah. Here's the problem. If you dominate a team and you're still not winning by a lot at half, that normally means the team you were dominating is better, and they're going to catch back up in the second half.
Exactly. So one way to stay in it.
You need to knock them out. But also, I'm not taking anything away from Haynes King. He could go sicko mode too and just say, I am the offense. So that's a big fact. Michael, what's up? Quentin, what's up, dude? Medicare guys, Texas. What's up, guys? All right. So let's talk offense first. I'm going to throw out my keys. These guys can argue and add their own and all of that stuff, but these are the actual insights that I've been able to gather through studying Texas and UTEP throughout the week. It's a long week where I do it. Okay, first things we want to see is situational success. So I want to show you guys what I mean by that. Okay. I'm going to pull up some stats here for you guys to show you what I mean by situational success.
Numbers.
All right, guys. So this is going to be Texas stats, and I'm already on Sam Houston, as you can see. But so what I want to talk about when I talk situationally, this is really scary. This is where I talk situational football, guys. These are the moments that you have to win. This is really what football is.
Right.
And so right now on early downs, EPA, how successful we are on first and second, we're 99th in the country. Okay, we played Ohio State. I hear people say that, but we played a bad team in San Jose State too. So these numbers should go, if you got shut down last in the nation versus Ohio State, should have been top 10 versus San Jose State, and we weren't, right? We stayed at the bottom with these things. This is a sign of an offense that's struggling to execute. They're having problems. It can be play calling, it can be personnel, whatever it is. Sark said this week, I'm tired of the word potential. We need potential to turn into points. And I agree with them 100%. So we can talk about the athletes on the offense. Good is as good does. And right now, we're not doing good. So early down EPA, 99th in the country. Third down percentage, 110th in the country. Average third down distance, how close are we? Are we in 3rd and 2? We're 94th in the country. We're normally at 3rd and 7. Fourth down hasn't loaded, but it's 87th. Red zone, including field goals, is 112th. If we just talk touchdowns in the red zone, we're 98th. So this is a big
stuff that I think
scary, man.
Yeah.
This is scary.
I don't know if it helps or hurts, but I think the reality, like especially just with this community of Texas fans here, like most of us kind of already expected this to be the case. Like we haven't necessarily maybe seen these numbers in front of us or whatever. It's not like that's common data, but it's almost verification of what we've been like. Anybody with a trained eye that's watching these games here, there's clear discombobulation, right? There's a lack of synchronicity happening on the offensive side of the ball, and it's just the reality of it. It is what it is, man. So these numbers here bear that out for sure. It's like the data passing the eye test,
Yeah, and we're like mid in the country for standard down rates. Standard downs, you want to be standard downs all the time because now your playbook's open, right?
Exactly.
You don't want to end up in passing downs because you're in a passing down. So let's do pass coverage, right? But when we are in these passing downs, we're 106 in the country on success rate. So this is tough. This is really tough. If I was looking at this as this is UTEP's numbers, I'd be clowning them, and I would say this team's not good. So that's the thing here that we have to figure out. That's why my key for this game specifically, I don't care about winning. Texas is going to win. they have to win in a way that makes me feel comfortable.
Right.
Exactly.
So they need to convert third downs. They need to score touchdowns in the red zone.
Broken tackles on the second level, right? And
Right.
just showcasing that you can run the football in a powerful manner when the other team knows that you're going to try to run the football in a powerful manner, right? Just proving that you possess that capability. And as Paul and Ian pointed out earlier in the week, or maybe it was just Paul, it might have been you discussing it with Paul prior to their deep dive, Homer, but just the amount of bodies on the ground up front is
that's
kind of an alarming thing that needs to get solved, right? Guys have to not only not fall, but the things that lead to that. There's nuances of pad level or your center of gravity, right? Just kind of staying within yourself that can prevent some of those things from happening. So it's great to hear that in some of the shortcomings that people can point to are from two of the players that we felt best about coming into this season. Colin Simmons trying a little bit too hard to do a little bit too much. We're hearing that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Same thing on the other side of the football. Ryan Wingo trying a little bit too hard to do a little bit too much. That's a good problem to have, I would say. Right. So those are two examples right there that we just touched on. Settle down, relax, take a deep breath, get settled into the game. Like just stop placing so much pressure and weight on your shoulders. And then once these guys, it's just reps, man. As they continue to play, they're going to continue to settle in. And some of those shortcomings may just settle themselves, if nothing else. Right. So that's another real easy reason to point to, like why games like this are important. And it's not, to Homer's point, it's not that they're winning, it's the way that they're doing it. Right. That's what we're talking about here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you would hope so. I say this, like, your 5-stars have to play like 5-stars. Your leaders got to be leaders, right? They got to make plays too, because a lot of times people are looking at you, right? You become the vocal leader, you're the leader of the team. They're looking at you to make a play. If you don't make a play, I feel like you start getting self-doubt. Everybody starts pressing. Well, I can be the leader, right? This is my moment to shine. It's like, no, that's not your role. So I think everybody kind of gets out of sync as a team because everybody's trying to step up and be the guy. But that's not your role, is to be the guy. Your role is to be the role that you had before. So hopefully these leaders and these 5-stars start playing on a different level of, hey, be that 5-star we all know you can be. And I think that'll lift everybody else play up as well. Like you look at Vince Young's teams, like a lot of those people were not as talented, but they played their role very well because they had their Superman. So our Superman need to put their cape on today. I don't care if it's UTEP, you have to play to the standard. And
it's the corner shooter in the NBA, right? Like you're in the playoffs, he doesn't do anything besides stand in the corner, but he hits his threes, right? Like that's you need that too. And so you're in a weird spot because look, the numbers are bad. So the players are going to feel distress of that. And like, man, I guess I do got to make a play. So it's hard to teach them not to press, but really the answer is not to press. It's just to run the offense. You're going to stress yourself out even more. So that's going to be a big factor too. I think McCutcheon's play, someone asked about freshman receivers. So Moore being out, you'll see McCutcheon at the slot. We've heard great things about him all offseason. It's just, he wasn't the 5-star of the bunch. And he came in and played well and played smart. So today should be McCutcheon's day. I'm really excited to watch him. Hopefully he can get something going there. Arch has really struggled with his connection with DeAndre so far. And we talk about Ryan Wingo getting bad balls. DeAndre Moore is getting the worst throws, hands down.
Yeah. Can we elaborate on that for a second? So like while we wait on Coach Dub, especially, buy him a little bit of time. He's handling some other things behind the scenes right now, but I want to stop right there if we can. And I think it's a great discussion piece, and it's just it's one of those, once again, those sports below the surface elements that are pretty easy to overlook here, and it's totally understandable if people do overlook them. On the Ryan Wingo, Dalen McCutcheon topic, okay, and I think it's synonymous at other spots as well, but I believe that you'll see those guys have a more impactful opportunities in the bigger games when for the Ryan Wingo thing, let's start there and we'll just go sequentially, I guess. Parker Livingston in nature is going to open things up for him coming soon, moving forward, right? Having to worry and having to consider somebody else to take away I think that matters. I think that matters for Ryan Wingo. I think that benefits him. I think that's critical, right? To have two guys that can threaten an opponent in the secondary. I think that matters. In a similar point, right? Teams like, especially like Sam Houston State next week, this week UTEP, last week San Jose State, like they're going to do everything they can to run away from the direction of somebody like Anthony Hill. They're going to do everything that they can in obvious passing situations to throw multiple bodies at Colin Simmons to prevent him from wrecking the passing situation, right? Teams are going to do everything.
State did that.
Right.
Yeah. Even Ohio State was like, we're not running at him or tempted Colin Simmons. Yeah.
So that's kind of, it puts a bow on the discussion, but also kind of ties everything back all together. Like Coach mentioned a second ago. And then you even brought it up too, right? It's guys knowing their role, right? Every LeBron James needs his Ray Allen standing over there in the corner. You know what I'm saying? And so that to me is like, there is no more important player on the defensive side of the ball right now than Leonga Lafau. Right? He is benefiting from a development standpoint of having everybody try to avoid Anthony Hill. Right? Ethan Burke, Colton Vasek, guys like that, even Lance Jackson to some capacity, right? They are benefiting from the mere presence of Colin Simmons, whether he is producing in a sack heavy or pressure heavy manner or not. Right? So the reality is, it's like there's give and take, there's push and pull, but I don't think I want to overstate or overlook the importance of what we've seen so far from Parker Livingston, just allowing Ryan Wingo to relax a little bit. Right. And go play and go be that Superman. Right. Just within himself and what his skill set is, which right now is clearly not being a route technician.
Correct.
So I hope that's.
And you got to take them as they are, right? Like Ryan Wingo's not running great routes. He's not an underneath guy. He's not running routes. That's not what it is right now. Wish it was, but it's not what it is today, this second. So, look, if he's a slant and screens guy, well, he's a damn good slant and screens guy. You know, once he gets the ball in the open field, make it work. Don't force Wingo into something that it's not going to be his strength, right? So to me, it's like, look, put him on you remember the play we highlighted where Livingston's running the crosser and Wingo's on the post. Switch those guys, man, because Livingston can run and Wingo is great on the crosser and he'll draw that safety down. So just put guys in the situation that's best for them. I know we're trying to develop versus these worst teams. But that's not working right now. We just really need to get what we're good at because we have a lot of things we're bad at. We're going to have to lean on what we're good at. An SEC player, else, trouble ahead. So
that's no different. Yeah, it's no different from the conversation of Sark talking about letting Arch settle in. And how does he do that? He makes him feel the game, right? How do you feel the game? You make him go hit somebody, run into somebody, right? Carry the football, get tackled, feel that for a bit, right? Same thing. Don't overcomplicate the situation, right? Confidence is key. It's critical. Feel and flow of the game is critical. How do you do that? If you have to manufacture a touch to Ryan Wingo to get his confidence up so he'll settle down a little bit, then let's do it, right? That's an easy thing to change and rectify. And so I say all that to say and acknowledge I've heard the sentiment be echoed throughout Longhorn Nation this week as I've been antibioticed up trying to get rid of whatever's been inside my head, man. But it's Stark can do things as well. Like this can be something off the field that we're trying to rectify. And I think that is also real. There's an element of this where Sark in real time is adjusting not just to a quarterback that he's trying to allow to be more confident and comfortable running the football with his legs, but also, hey, the modern world of football, right, where defenses are just more hybridized and more let's say like disguised, right, than ever. Yeah. So Sark, it's not the same in 2020 when you had Mac Jones. Things have to.
This is the big part, man. Defenses are ahead of offenses again.
There
was a period where the spread was demolishing everybody.
Yes,
and crossers were killer. But now we have defensive coverages like a poach coverage that's designed for that out of a 2 high. And then you can, Texas does with a 3 buzz thing, we put a safety to pick up crossers. The crosser's been solved on the defensive side. Now you can choose not to run it, and teams don't run it. You can try to get in personnels to make sure that they don't run it, but the crosser's been solved. And so that's a big thing too, right? But also the spread's been solved, and so is the RPO. And so it's like these things were incredible advantages that just coaches couldn't figure it out. Defensive coordinators are smart as hell, man. Like
I hate that I haven't had this conversation with you yet. Keep preaching, please.
That's just what it is, man. Like they've got it solved. So the offense is either going to have to innovate in some way or pure out execute or out athlete. But all the tricks of the trade
has been my thing. But yes.
Yeah, well, that's why you're seeing people go to the run more, right? Because they're having all the tricks of the trade, especially like versus the Alabama offense. They're not as potent. Period. And so that's the thing too that's going to have to be really important moving forward, just schematically. That's something that matters, and we're not used to.
And just can we elaborate on what that is for anybody who doesn't know? I like what Homer's saying, guys, is condensed formations, bigger bodies, heavier personnel. Like that, or that's what I'm suggesting when I say physicality, and what he's saying by nuances. Those are the things that come to mind, and that we're seeing the evolution, right, from a granular level at the NFL, in the National Football League. More teams are committing to bigger bodies, heavier personnel, condensed formations to counter the defense's counter to their postmodern spread. Right. Yep. So defenses had to get lighter and more diverse. Right. What did we say earlier? Sorry. Hybridized. Okay. They have to be able to play multiple positions in a lot of ways. Edges got to be able to drop into spot coverage. More DBs on the field in general, 5-6 most of the time. They countered to the speed, the tempo, the air raid, right? Or the aerial attack.
Too high coverage.
That really began to peak. And now, like you said, too high coverage, it became a demon. Vision-based defenses, all zone coverage, like guys just breaking on the football. It turns into man in some cases. But so now defenses have to run teams out of the too high shell. They have to run teams out of their light and hybridized bodies. How do you do that? You get bigger, you get stronger, you condense, and you just say, boom, that way. That's why it's so important. And that's why we talk about it. It's not just because it's old school conventional wisdom. No, it's because this is the era that we're in. And it's now that pendulum has flown back in the direction of physicality.
Well, we have to retro innovate, and like you see it with like Ben Johnson, right? His offenses are the cutting edge of that in the NFL.
Great point.
He's gotten big. He still has the flash of wide receivers, St. Brown, that kind of stuff. He still has Jameer, or not anymore. He's at Chicago, but he had Jahmyr Gibbs, right? The fast hitting running back, those kind of things. So they still kept explosiveness and skill, but they played a ton of heavy guys, and their guys could block. Their tight ends could block. And you could leave their tight end with an edge and feel comfortable. So that's where it's going. You're actually seeing things being brought back from the past. But if we're still in this kind of spread world, we need to adapt because the defenses already have. And I watched plenty of defensive clinics. They're not scared about these type of offenses anymore.
No.
And that's a big factor. So before we keep going, though, guys, let's hear a word from Academy.
Any gate can be a tailgate.
Fun can't lose, guys. All right. So before me and Lando bore you guys going in deep into the whole waves of what's going on, but that's what's going on at the macro level. So the big things for this game: avoid the stuff. Right, UTEP leads the country in TFLs, and they send guys to the ball. So these next 2 points are actually going to be tied. So they send numbers to the ball. They'll send secondary, that kind of stuff when they get run. Well, what does that mean? That means play action. That means that you can get guys to come down. And so you have to hit play action shots versus these run aggressive teams. Issue is right now, Arch is the 134th graded play action passer, according to PFF, out of all quarterbacks. So this is how you beat teams that are this aggressive in rushing the line is to throw play action. So the key for this game is to hit these shots, and it's for Arch to look far better hitting them. Arch has been much more of a traditional spread quarterback, just pure drop back passing, 2x2, mirrored concepts. He knows which way he's looking. If it's not there, it's time to run. Kind of the old school spread style of quarterback. But there's a tension there because Sark keeps talking in the press games about we need to get him under center. And what does under center mean? It means play action. So Sark clearly wants this style and Arch isn't good at it yet.
That's also yes. That's a great punctuation point on what I was trying to say earlier. I agree. And that's also synonymous too. So when we talked about heavier bodies and personnel and things like that, under center is a key cog in that discussion as well.
Yeah. But you got to be able to hit it, or else the defense is going to go, I don't care. So these are we have to hit play action today if we're gonna force the issue here, which I think we should, right? It has success with what we were talking about, but Arch has to hit them. And the tough part with play action is a lot of times you max protect, and all that means is you keep guys to protect Arch in the backfield, a tight end and a running back. And when you do that, you're going to have max 3, normally 2 guys out on routes, and our receivers aren't killing it right now. So you limit also the options where you can go with the ball. So if they don't win their routes, and you don't want Arch just throwing it up. So there's when we plug one hole, another leak is springing right now. And so it's just like trying to get our feet under us. And so we want to do one thing with Sark, but really we're better at another. So we're just going to see how this tension works.
It's a very weird push and pull that's happening. There's an internal struggle right now, guys. That's one of the things I thought I was going to get to this week. I believe so strongly in it. And we've had fascinating discussions on that topic on this very channel. That's why you come to Inside Texas for discussions like these. But it's pretty profound right now. And it's just the reality. There's an adjustment, and Texas is working through some things, but they're not the only program in the country, and they will not be the only program in the country to continue to deal with those things as coaches, the modern OC or play caller is still figuring out ways what best suits their offense as far as the adjustments that we just discussed are concerned. So we just got to be patient with it, and once again enjoy the process, because we're complaining about the nuances that can take this team from the 7th best team in the country behind still one of the most prolific, if not the most dynamic defense in the country. We need to keep in mind those things as well. It's more than just a one-sided affair or one element of this sport here, but the defense, the other 2 phases deserve their respect is all I'm saying. But
well, it's also proportional. So I'll often hear things like, well, it's earlier in the season, we'll get better. Yeah, so will the opposing defenses. It's proportional. They get better too. And so it's this concept of like everyone else is going to stay the same, and if Texas improves, you're good now. It's like, no, everyone's going to get better. So what's going on here? And so that's where we need to figure out our stuff on offense going forward, because teams are going to get better, and the playbook is put out day after day on how to slow us down.
Yeah, the blueprint is out there.
Yeah, and so that's the biggest factor. Now, one big key thing here is like, look, if we're going under center and heavier and those kind of things, like we need more running back explosivity. I keep hearing yards per carry stats, and that's great. But the reality is we're 129th in the country in explosive runs. We're not getting more than what's blocked for. So that's a huge factor. And Nash dropped this graphic on us on Monday. This is a shout out Nash Talks Texas. Here's our recent backs. Here's the elusivity rating, which is taking into factors like missed tackles forced, these kind of things. If you look, man, our backs are all at the bottom here. You have Jarrett Gibson up top at 2025, but Trey, CJ, Clark, all at the bottom. And so
the guy at the top is the guy that can't hold on to it. That's the problem. We got to, that's a factor today too, right? We got to figure out how to, because to me, Jarrett Gibson is ahead of, I'll just say, last week it was a big topic of discussion, right? Who's going to step up in the running game? Christian Clark, Jarrett Gibson, the like. We're talking about James Simon now getting added to the fold today, but to me, Jarrett Gibson was the most productive of the quote unknowns in the running back room, but they have an issue right now that they're trying to solve too. That's another one of those low-hanging fruits. Expect him to get a lot of touches today.
Yeah, and I don't think the answer is that he's going to run for 80, but I think he's going to consistently pick up 1 or 2 more yards, and that's just what we need right now. Because we're going down way too easy. Like first contact, I mean, these little safeties. I remember week 1, no one ever wants to listen, but week 1 it was the safeties got him because it was Caleb Downs. Well, last week it wasn't Caleb Downs, guys. Like I do this full time. Like I'm trying to warn people ahead of time of bad things that can happen. And that was one of them. We're not making those safeties miss. And so that's a factor that we have to pay attention to. We need more explosivity because also we don't have a pass game to lean on.
I was going to say, especially when the other phase of offense is sort of kicking or spinning their wheels a little bit right now, trying to get going. Yeah, that's it. It's increasingly important. And you're right, because that's where explosive plays are happen, right? Can you break tackles? Can you get to the second level? Can you get more than what it's blocked up for? Football is about explosive too. Like granularly speaking, it's the team that doesn't turn the football over who has the most explosives on offense most of the time, right? Take care of the ball, have plenty of explosives. You're going to be a good football team. So if you're not consistently generating those explosives in the passing game, you got to break tackles in the running game to see that manifest in the form of a different phase. And it hasn't happened yet. And that's one of the things that Homer has been trying to warn us about. Hey, it's not just some obsolete trend. It's actually real. They're actually struggling with trying to figure out ways how to be more explosive in the running game. So good stuff, Homer.
And if you look, like, some of the run game here stuff is not crazy, like bad. Let's see. Let's look at the
it's a marginal tick, man. All this stuff it's one harmony, you know, like they're trying to put it all together. They're trying to figure out what they're good at and who's good at it.
And our yards per rush are not bad. We're 46th, right? And so it's that, and that's what people are keying on into, and I'm fine with that. Now at Texas, 46 is not good enough, by the way. But if we're,
not in that history that we've gotten used to either.
Yeah. If we're making that kind of like, sober analysis, like it's better than other parts of the offense for sure. But that's what we need. This explosivity is, you can see, sticks out like a sore thumb. Mm-hmm. If we look, offensive explosiveness in general is really weak. And people are like, what are you talking about? Like, we hit those fades to Livingston and stuff like that. It's like, guys, those are 3 or 4 plays out of 75. What are we doing the other 71 plays? Like, if we look, our success rate passing, let's see where we're at. We're 113th in passing success rate. We can't do anything. Like, we do land like 3 or 4 shots.
Those are 2 red flags in equally opposite areas of the field, right? Like, it's scary. It is.
And we're having to rely on this to even score, because we can't. Mm-hmm. How many times has Texas lined up at the 20 and just scored? The defense last game, 4 out of 5 scores last game were silver platters. Defense said, here's the turnover. We have yet to line up at the 20 and just execute our offense down the field. And that's a huge factor. So, we got explosivity, which is still not that good. It's 44th, but it's not top 5. The problem is a good team is going to take away the explosives. Texas defense does that. We're incredible with that. A good team is going to take away those explosives. They're going to play high. And if you don't have a crazy run game, which we don't, you can't punish them on the ground at that point. So now what do? And even when we are open, sometimes Arch isn't seeing it, or we're not connecting on those, or just say we just have an off day and the explosives aren't there. This offense is going to struggle to score 14 points. Yeah. And so it's like, this is the polarity that we're dealing with on the offensive side.
Polarity is a good way to say it. I want to just make a couple quick points here before I ask you another question. I think that you may that it's worthy of more attention than I heard you bring up in an earlier show. But really quickly, so what Homer's saying there, macro level again, zoom back out. Okay, Texas is currently 129th in the country. If you want to scroll back up to the 129th rushing explosivity number there. Currently, and how many FBS teams are there currently right now?
I think it's like 136 now. They added people.
Okay, so just call that worst in the country. Rushing explosivity. We discussed this behind the scenes a little bit. Most people may say, well, they played Ohio State week 1. Okay, but they also just played San Jose State last week. So one of the best defenses, maybe a huge question mark, let's just say bottom half defense in San Jose State. So it's not like you should be last in explosivity or any of these metrics.
Should be in the 60s, right? You played good and you played bad.
Exactly. Yeah. And that should balance it out, and it hasn't yet. So Homer's saying, okay, once again, zoom back out a little bit more, macro level. What we discussed earlier about the modern hybridized defense, where it's very confusing. Okay, I meant to elaborate on that. For quarterbacks, they struggle big time. Okay, it's not just Arch. It won't continue to just be Arch, and it's not just at this level. It's in the National Football League all over the place too. You watch. The hit rate at quarterback is going to decrease, or people are going to have more questions, broad spectrum right now than they ever have before, because there's never been more hybridized, more confusing defenses. And so when the answer to solving the confusion problem for your quarterback, when all these they diagnose their blitzes very well, they force communication from the offensive line, they force confusion to the offensive line, and then of course if they're confused, the quarterback obviously is as well, right? So if the answer to all that confusion and chaos that DCs are creating because of hybridization and confusion, if the answer to that is getting big and physical and being explosive in the running game, is what Texas is currently one of the worst, if not the worst in the country at, then that's an issue. So that's why it's critical to see a big step in that regard today. We got to see some explosive runs today. We got to start feeling like the offense itself, not just us as fans, but them. They have to start feeling like they are getting more confident, bullying people, everybody in sync, right? It's a new unit, and we kind of had those questions coming in. Most people would have said 4 new starters. Most Texas fans wouldn't have agreed because of Cole Hudson's experience, but there's a little bit of a growth in let's call it what, communication factor there, just cohesion up front. That's also probably a little bit of an overlooked factor in this discussion, but man, it's just, you got to see that today. That's one of the biggest things I'm gonna be watching today for sure. I'll just say that.
Well, it's tough with getting big, right? Because, and I've harped on this for 2 years, we don't take tight ends that are blockers. We take big receivers and try to hope they become okay blockers. I hate that. Like, it's like, dude, if you're gonna run a tight end, run the tight end. Like a no star from North Dakota can go out on a leak. Like, it's not that hard to catch a 5-yard pass.
I was going to say, most tight end explosive plays are schemed up anyway. Like,
yeah, they're like wide
a
ass open, Yeah.
Right.
And so it's like, look, we need blockers. Like, I have no problem with having pass catchers. I love it. We don't have one true block. We don't have one. And so it's like, dude,
we thought Jordan Washington was going to be like that extension of the O-line, but he's just not right now.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and they're young. They're young
exactly.
and dynamic, but it's like, we don't have any bulldogs that like, walk on 2-star, like, look, I'm doing this to make sure I can eat, like level full black, like you see in the Midwest. Like, that's a big
Iowa, Nebraska, Wisconsin. Yeah,
well, and the problem that makes me mad is they cost nothing. Like, they're not an expensive player in NIL. Like, so it's like, dude, who's Iowa's 3rd string H-back? Let's go buy him.
There's no excuse for Texas not to have like 2 Jake Fergusons or 2, name your title, Noah Fants on their roster every year. Like, there should be 2 of them chilling right there, ready to go. So
yeah. And so that's a big factor. So it's like, even if you wanted to get heavy and play this game, the backs aren't super explosive. We don't have blocking tight ends. Like, we're just not really built for the counter to playing that style anyway. So that's a little tough. And trust me, we're going to talk defense next. The numbers on defense you guys are going to enjoy. So most of all, I mean, not most of, all of my angst is with the offense. Like, I love what the defense is doing, and you'll see the numbers there in a second. Yeah. But guys, before we do that, I want to tell you guys about something here.
Let them know.
Huddle up, football fans. Tailgate season is here, and nobody gets Texas ready for game day like Academy Sports and Outdoors. Swing by your local Academy store or shop online at academy.com to find grills, canopies, jerseys, and more. Be a watch party legend with gear from top brands like Nike, Adidas, and Under Armour at undefeatable prices every single day. Fun can't lose, and neither can you with tailgate gear from Academy. Academy Sports and Outdoors is the official sporting goods and outdoor retailer of the SEC. They sure are. They sure are. Oh, no, Landon. We lost him. All right, chat. We're going to talk some defense here as well. I think we need to be ready for a disappointing season on the offensive side of the ball. Yes, I agree. The numbers, like I said, if I was evaluating this as another team, Quentin, I would be all over them. I'd be all over them. Defense is going to have to keep us in it, and we're just going to have to figure it out, and we're going to have to get more creative with the scheme. So that's going to be the big thing. All right. So this is on defense. What I want to see here, I want to just start fast, right? I thought San Jose State, they came out kind of flat, and that's not cool, especially after a loss. I know it's not a great team, but start fast. And then they turned it on and went sicko mode. But, show up like you're respecting the opponent. And then another big factor for me is to punish Malachi Nelson for his bad decisions. So I have the all 22 of them that I've been studying. He decides pre-snap. He's incredibly lazy. So I've never seen a safety influence a single one of his decisions. Like what a safety does post-snap, he'll throw it regardless.
It's just a predetermined yeet. That's pretty much it.
Pretty much, yep. And so we showed on Deep Dive, Kenny Odom gets this seam route for a touchdown, and then they go for the same exact play, but the coverages have changed, and he throws it into triple coverage, and it gets Odom's head taken off. Same throw, same play. The thing that changed was not reading coverages. So punish Nelson for those bad decisions. Pick opportunities are going to be there, especially if they're pushing right. Also, this is a 5-star. I'm sure there's a little bit of I want to show you in him, hopefully. But punish Nelson for his bad decisions when he does put the ball in danger, because he has put the ball in danger. Big factor 2, limit slot Odom. That's their star player. He plays hard. He's a fun player. He makes nice catches. He's a good deep threat. It's all about that. So Littleton doesn't get a week off, guys. Littleton's had to do Ennis into Scudero into Odom. So we're going to see more testing of the freshman Grayson Littleton. I thought he had some good moments last game and some bad moments last game that we looked at on the film study. So need more information from Littleton. I think he's the most targeted secondary defender in the SEC right now, because they see a freshman and go at him. But the goal, Littleton, lockdown.
They don't know what we know. They don't know what we know.
They don't exactly. and they'll find out about halfway through the season. They'll realize it. But that's a big thing. So turn pressures into sacks. I think what I have here, Nelson's 27th in the country in pressure to sack rate. So when he does give you that pressure, let's try to convert that into a concrete sack. But the difference is this, fellas. Originally I was going to go, this is going to be a sack game. He's 97th in time to throw. The ball comes out very fast. So there's not going to be a ton of that opportunities, but when they are presented, get the sack. So that's my big thing there. And then they'll speed up their tempo at times. They're not a tempo team. They're not crazy at speed, but they will turn it on occasionally. Handle those, and then I just want to see us do something in the return game. So these are the original defensive keys, and now we can kind of talk over them, y'all, and see what's going on there.
Hey, I would love nothing more, see, Gaddis. I would love nothing more.
Yeah. I'm down with it. Get 250 rushing yards.
Nothing more, trust me.
Yeah, that's what we want. We want these numbers to go up, and that's how you do it. Like, break one, like, really go after it. It's how we win, not if we win.
Coach, we were just kind of off of that point. I know we've kind of switched over to the defensive side of the ball real quick. I know you were handling something behind the scenes, but sort of what we kind of landed on and discussed for the last 20 minutes or so. And it was a fantastic. I freaking love this discussion right here. But just wanted to get maybe your feel for what we were kind of covering closely, which is the modern hybridized defense, right? That's too high. It's vision based. It's multiple. It's diagnose your blitzes. It's roll your coverage. All that stuff, right? It's very confusing for modern quarterbacks and offensive coordinators and play callers, right? So when the answer to that stuff is to condense heavy personnel, just power run, that type of thing, to out physical their lighter more hybridized bodies. When Texas is towards the bottom of the barrel, towards the end in the country, and doing that 129th overall, when that's the counter to the eliminating the quarterback confusion, right? Then you have a problem. And so it's really critical today. That's what we were talking about. Like, Texas would love nothing more than that. To what C. Gaddis said, they run for 250 today. They need to feel and to prove to themselves that they can, execute on that level, right?
You know what? And I wrote about this, I want to say 2 weeks ago. They can do it. But are they disciplined enough to stick with it? And I'm talking about the coaches too. Sometimes you get in rhythm. You know what you are offensively, or what you want to call, right? Coach Sarkisian, that's his offense. It's his baby. No matter what, he's going to go back to the past because that's what he loved to do. So it's not about, you can prove it, but that's not your identity. That's not who you are. That's not the way. I don't think practices are ran. I don't think the way it's installed, right? There are big plays, like they want to throw the ball. That's what they want to do, and mix in the run. Consistently, I've never seen Texas really stick with the run and just punish people. Maybe I think Kentucky game last year, they
we'll do it in like the fourth quarter. We'll do it like we'll do it situationally and run out the game.
Situationally, yes.
But not just wall to wall.
I'm just going to if it's that, I'm gonna, pancake your defense line. I'm gonna continue to run until you stop it. And I don't care.
Mhm.
I may throw it in play action pass here and there, but will we stick with it? Are we disciplined enough to actually do it? I don't think so. And so that's key for me. Is the coaches are learning just as much as the players. Sometimes you got to win ugly, and that's okay. It's about getting better at situational football, man. That's what it should be about for the games down the road, the conference games, the playoffs, because that's when you're really gonna need it the most. So, will the coaches commit to the run game and do it? That's the key for me.
Yeah. Homer, did you want to spend like 2 minutes to elaborate on why having a tight end in line that can block against a defense like this is critical and it's like vital to how you beat them? I heard you touch on that earlier. I just wanted to see if you wanted to spend more time on that or not.
When defenses have solved a crosser, meaning that in like cover 3 they have an answer where usually a linebacker would have to carry number 3 vertically right through the field. Well, we put Texas defense shows that it's solved. We put safety there and cover, and we're able to stop crossers. You have one rat, which is a cover 1 variation that's all about stopping crossers and looking for crossers. And then you have poach coverages where backside safeties are able to catch crossers in 2 high looks. So the cross has been solved. And so and then they're running 2 high on whatever else.
And if it's not solved, Travis Kelce will solve it for you.
Yeah, and so now teams are getting bigger, and I said Ben Johnson. You want to look at Ben Johnson and study his offense. So you want to create more gaps, right? You're getting a lot of people with nickel bodies or corner bodies. You want them to get bigger. If they choose not to get bigger, now you've added gaps, right? So you can have 7, 8, 9 gaps, and that's what the point of a tight end is. But if you create more gaps and the tight end can't block, it doesn't matter anyways if he just gets worked over and then they stuff the run. So that's why you want tight ends. And Texas views tight ends as essentially big receivers. Like they just want them to be functional enough and frankly just get in the way opposed to blocking. And that's fine. But if the core function of your offense is going to be this H-back that's constantly running split zone or constantly running counter like all the time, you would think you would select a little bit more for
in a world full of guys like Mike Gesicki and Evan Ingram, right? Be a George Kittle. Like in the modern NFL, be a 260 or a Brevin Spann-Ford for Cowboys fans who are nerds like me. Be a Brevin Spann-Ford. Be a 6'7". And Texas has a prototype, by the way, on the roster currently. He's just a baby still. Be a 6'7", 270 tight end. And go and figure out how to maul somebody, go delete somebody from the line of scrimmage, right?
But it doesn't feel like that's a focus in practice. You know, it feels to me.
And that's why Coach said that earlier. My eyes went because somebody behind the scenes who's seeing it, right? That's information, you know.
But the problem is we are running 2 throw play action shots.
Right.
The run game is an ends to the mean. The run game is not in and of itself its thing. It's just to set up. And the reason why we're running all these counters and split zones with the tight end is so then we can leak the tight end. And so then he can get a big play. We're doing all of this is basically to draw people down and get eyes for the shot. Right. Opposed to just being like, look, we're an offense that likes to run. It's all the whole offense.
George Kittle and Brevin Spann-Ford can leak, though. I wasn't saying like only block. I'm saying they made their way by blocking. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So
look, I think it's one guy on the roster, and he probably is not the biggest of all of them, but he's probably the most physical tight end we have, and that's Nick Townsend. He doesn't mind blowing.
He's down. He's heavy metal, dude.
He's coming 100 miles an hour, coming right at you. It might not be the prettiest technique, but he's going to blow somebody up, right? And so I think they didn't recruit him for that. I think that's just who he is as a player, right? You know what I'm saying? Because he's a heck of an athlete as well who can catch the ball. So it'd be interesting to see. You know, I think that's one for sure.
Take pride in it, man. You got to take pride in your blocking. It's not enough to just get in front of somebody. It's not enough to slow them down. You need to win your assignment. You're a tight end. You're not a big receiver. You're a tight end. Yeah, and so that's the big factor for me with the offense.
I don't know if you re-emphasize it here, but like your point, Homer, there's what Homer was saying is they're going to have 4 linebacker types out there, or 2 backers and 2 linebacker like safeties. You know what I'm saying? So he's saying create extra gaps with bigger bodies and force those guys. Like, it's the same discussion, right? We're having the same discussion. He's just speaking about it in a little bit more of an X's and O's way than I was granularly, but it's the same thing, and it matters a lot. So there's so much to watch for today. I'm really excited to see it all come together.
So I want to show you guys defense because we've given you guys your medicine on the offense, but I want to talk about the defense and what they're able to do positively. Was able to connect with a guy named Pack through Cord, and he's a big scheme head. And so we hung out after the live, and he was drawing me up on the board and everything. Like, this is Texas's scheme. This is how we're this is how we're playing. 6 gaps with only 5 guys, like all of this stuff. And what it led me to believe, first off, is people are concerned with Texas tackles for loss, which are really low, like freaky low. I think we're 124th in the nation for tackles for loss. We're not penetrating the backfield. We're purposely waiting for that kind of stuff. We're giving you 3-4 yards, and then we're going to clamp down on you situationally. But this is a big factor. Don't expect a ton of tackles for loss. That's not really how the defense is designed. So fans that are worried about that, I get it. I mean, you still want to be higher than 124th, but it's not the structure of the defense. And so that's a big thing. So here's the defense where we're at. Let's look. What's really key is overall defensive explosiveness. We're number 2 in the country. So nobody's getting explosives against us. We're making you earn it. If you want to do it 2-3 yards at a time, that's fine. Like I said, you can let your run game go. If it gets to 3rd down, we're going to clamp on you. But a big factor here is defensive explosiveness. So we're not getting a ton of havoc on the front 7. We're 126th in havoc, right? You guys have said, where are our sacks? Where are these things? We're not playing hyper aggressive there. We're playing a lot of 4 down and just we can win. But where we are having success is that we're keeping guys in coverage here, and we're disguising well, and TAP's the key to all of this. So we're 24th when it comes to defensive back or coverage havoc, PBUs, picks, stuff like that. So this defense is unique in that it's not super attacking right now, but it's very confusing and tough on quarterbacks because we're doing a lot of disguise with good athletes. So it's an interesting version of the Texas defense that we're looking at this year so far. Anything catch your eye with that, Coach?
Look, I think there's so much emphasis put on the front 4 that they were going to create so much havoc and get so many sacks that I think your eyes have been trained to like, hey, where is that at? That's all you're looking for, right? Versus like you're not looking at the total defense. Like, hey, we're playing okay. Yeah, we're not getting the sacks, but I think they'll come as they go, right? They're getting pressure. They're getting back there. They're getting close. So I think that that stuff will come. That'll add up. But the totality of the defense, they're playing well, right? They're keeping a cap on everything.
Well, it's like, so where are we at sacks? We're at 78th in the country, but look at who we're playing. Like, everyone's getting the ball. Everyone knows that we'll get them. If they want to hang out and drop back pass and sit back there for 3 seconds, they know we'll get them. And so that's a big factor too, that we're not getting a ton of opportunities to even generate sacks, and we are getting pressures. I don't track pressures, but that's just my eye. So sacks per game, not good. But look, here's our DFEI. Here's our real defensive efficiency. We're 2nd in the country right now. So even though we're not getting like the TFLs and like the sacks, like the real attacking stuff that's very concrete for fans, we're dominating teams. They're not able to do what they want. And if you go more attacking, if you are Brent Venables, you give up big plays. That's the nature of it, right? If you get counterpunched. And that's why it's not a coincidence that we're number 2 for efficiency, and then we're number 2 in the country for defensive explosiveness. People aren't getting those big plays on us. So, yeah, it's not the most crazy attacking style or the sexiest style, but damn, is it not effective? And that's what we're seeing right now. So I get it. I want to see more sacks too. I want to see more TFLs. I'm not saying that those aren't valuable. I'm saying that the style of defense we are playing that's really not hyper prioritizing that is still become incredibly effective, and we're number 1 in defensive rushing explosivity, right? So
here's another thing too, and that's a great point. Great point. Think about what's happened so far. Okay, played one of the most feared receiver cores in the country week 1, Ohio State. You can't really be overly aggressive because they will punish you and they will put points on the board, right? Make a young quarterback throw the football, beat you repeatedly. Don't give up a big play. That makes sense. And then this stretch of games here, PK doesn't need to disclose any information to any incoming SEC teams that he's going to play this season. So he's going to play it by the book, right? He's going to keep the lid on a little bit, force guys to cover, force guys to communicate, right? Do it the right way. And then he'll have something for these other more big time SEC programs. Guarantee it.
Yeah. And if we look at our passing, I think we're 17th in yards per pass, not bad. 16th in explosivity. So, and then we're really high in passing plays rate, right? And so whenever you're a team generally leading, you're going to be high in passing plays rate because they're trying to catch up. So that's the thing. Sack rate, like we said, we're not getting a ton of sacks. We're 93rd in QB sack rate, but we're playing teams that are getting the ball out super fast. And you're going to see it again versus UTEP. How I grade our pass rush is when I watch the All-22, when we had an opportunity for a sack, did we get it? And we're only getting truthfully 3 or 4 just period opportunities a game. And so that's the reality of the passing game. And that's how teams are going to play us. I mean, if you're game planning Texas, are you going to say we're going to drop back pass and throw into the disguised coverages and Michael Taff being a little puppet master back there and screwing over quarterbacks, and then they have Colin Simmons, and then their third string edges are going to be a first rounder, in Lance Jackson? That's not how you're going to play Texas. You'd be stupid to do that. And so that's going to be the big factor here. But the reality is number 2 in the country in DFEI, number 1 in number 2 in explosiveness. We're keeping the lid on everything. And then, they'll be like, well, it's bend but don't break. And sure, it's a little bit of that. But we generally will shut down a little bit more in situationals. So our situationals are not as good. 2 years ago with Tavondre and them, we were number 1,
dude, that guy's NFL different. He was a cheat code in college, man. In the situationals that you're talking about.
Yeah. And so it's we're not as dominant there yet. And the Texas defense is what people are saying the offense is. The Texas defense is very close to elite and can theoretically get to elite throughout the season. The Texas offense is not going to get to elite, guys. You don't go from 130th to top 5. That's insane. And so, but the Texas defense is actually the point of let's get more reps. You're in punching distance of real eliteness on a lot of these things. The Texas offense is just not going to be elite. I don't know, take it to the bank. But Texas offense is not just a reps thing. This is a reps thing where you're not close on some aspects. I do want to see
that is usually true, Homer. I completely agree with you. Just asking a question, devil's advocate question here. I'm trying to sell a little bit of Kool-Aid because I know fans league or countrywide are down right now. So let me sell some Kool-Aid for a second. Could you hypothesize a world where, because of the cerebral nature of Arch Manning, who we know is going to maximize his mental, right, from a preparation standpoint, week in, week out, he's going to put the work in. Can you see that offsetting the otherwise reality? Is that enough? I don't know. I'm just saying he possesses the ability, as dynamic as he is, if he can get into a rhythm throwing the football with Wingo. DeAndre Moore gets healthy again. They get into a rhythm as well. And then Parker Livingston just continues to be the roommate.
It can look better.
Yeah.
It can look better.
I'm just wondering if we're not going to be top 5, but can we go from one of the worst right now in 2 really key areas to, let's say, top 20 potentially because of
probably not top 20. Maybe top 50.
You don't think so either, Coach?
No, it starts with the guys up front. And honestly,
and that's why I'm saying I don't think the running game right now has anything to do with Arch. In a lot of ways.
Yeah, I just feel like they catch. It's going to be situational. They may get a big play, but then you get inside the 20 to 15. You're going to go back in the red zone. It's field goal get you beat when you play good teams. And I don't think they consistently can score because the offensive line, they catch blocks. And I think Paul mentioned this. They don't attack. They catch the guy's momentum and then try to go forward. That doesn't work that way. You're going to be a big human and drive someone off the ball, right? But we catch a ton of blocks up front. How can you win that situationally versus the good teams in the future?
Mm-hmm.
Well, this is a big thing. Big T says this, dude. We have a playoff team. Who cares? So what is that? What does a playoff team mean? It means the top 12 team.
We've done that already. We're trying to win the dang natty, man.
Well, no, it's
Exactly.
not even that, guys. We're number 7. One more loss, you're probably not a top 12 team. So
Right.
so this is why preseason matters. People drive me nuts with this. They're like, preseason rankings don't matter. Yeah, they do. They gave us a free loss. We went from 1 to 7. You know, if you're ranked 15th in the preseason and lose, now you're probably dropping out. Preseason rankings 1,000,000% matter because it gave us a free loss to Ohio State. But the reality
it's
is
an extra life, right?
It's an extra life.
Yeah.
And so Texas right now is number 7, guys, and but we haven't played the SEC yet. It only gets harder from here.
Exactly.
So here, you know, if we get big wins, you might move up. But you take a loss to Florida and OU, you're not a playoff team at that point. You're going to drop out. And so that's the thing too, is like, guys, we don't have the wiggle room here. So we can't think of it as just like we're a playoff team because I think Ryan Wingo's athletic. You know, it's like you have to actually think about it from the actual reality of it. And we have 5 spots to drop before we're not a playoff team. Exactly. So here's the thing. The offense is really not a playoff offense. The defense is. So can we score enough and our defense basically unfairly shoulder all the burden to make it happen? That's the reality of it. And that's what we're going to need to see. So the offense will improve, hopefully, please God. But they're not gonna go from 100th to top 20. It's not a practical thing.
I need to see. Let me pull up. Keep going. I'm sorry. I need to pull up some stuff. I'm thinking out loud here.
Like if you saw that jump, that's normally like your quarterback was hurt, you know, and like he comes
That's
in.
what I'm saying. Like how much can Arch overinflate the norm, you know, if he can.
Well, and how much is the tension in it, right? Like does Sark go, you know what, you're a drop back passer. You're not playing well in the play action, which is what I want to do. And then I hate when you run, but you need to be able to run. Like how much of it is do you let Arch play hero ball? Right. And I don't know if we're 100% willing.
Nope, I'm not good with that either.
And that's the internal struggle right now that is not getting talked about enough. Sark in real time is having an internal struggle of adjusting to not only what the modern opposing defense is presenting, but also what his new dynamic quarterback is capable of.
Right.
It's an internal struggle.
And it'd be okay if you let Manning just be a great bus driver. You don't have to put it on his shoulders to win the game. But he has to adjust as a coach, like I said earlier, man. That's the hard. Can you break your own tendencies and habits? That's hard. Yeah. And that's what got you to where you are as a coach.
That's
true. You should be able to, but can you?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's so that's where it's tough, right? Because he's already admitted, right? Sark has said this year, after week 1 in the post-game presser, I should have gotten Arch involved in the physicality of that environment sooner. And I will make that adjustment. He's acknowledging that, right? So he's already learned to an extent there. But he's also the same guy who just a calendar year ago would have probably told you, my quarterback doesn't run the football. But guess what? In the modern era, he does. He knows Arch has to. And now every guy that he's recruiting after Arch is also
a runner.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm saying we haven't seen it manifest yet. He didn't expect Arch to struggle as bad as he did week 1. None of us did. But so he's having to figure some things out real time, right?
Yeah.
Well, and it's not. I'm not all mad at Sark. Like everyone was taken aback by that Ohio State performance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The coaches were like, "Look, if we just completed a couple more balls, we beat Ohio State." They're like, "I don't know what the hell that was. That wasn't the season reporting. That wasn't the preseason." Now, the final week,
none of that.
But the final week, I started to hear some couching. Like the final week, I started to hear about gelling, and it's like y'all weren't saying that the first 3 weeks. Y'all are right now that it's showtime. You guys are starting to change a little bit on me, and so, but they didn't expect that. So I'm not just like mad at Sark. Like Sark is this coordinator that can adjust, and he's like, just wake up, Sark. I think Sark was just as much like, oh, okay, this offense is at I'm dealing with something different here. I need to figure it out in real time because they're not ready for what I'm trying to do. And so now you got to realize you got to somehow develop them while taking challenge from them.
Yeah.
And so that's he's in a weird spot too. So it'll sound like I'm mad at Sark. I'm not mad at Sark. I think he's in a situation where he's like, I didn't even realize we were going to put up these numbers. And that's a very different thing than he's used to, especially, with what you've recruited. You're kind of shocked that you're I mean, this is like mid-major. This is mid-major like numbers. So he's got a lot of work to do in figuring it out. So I don't want to make it look like I'm mad at Sark or he's being
no. I didn't mean to intend to even point that finger. That's on me for if that was the case. I didn't intend to draw that conclusion, but I know that's not the case. But
no, it's for the chat. I don't want the chat. I don't want the chat on Twitter. I don't want the chat on Twitter to be like Sark can adjust.
Randall said this. Hey.
Yeah.
But,
all
right, guys.
Coach, do either of y'all have an update real quick on? Can we elaborate at all on Jonah Williams? I know there's some clouded coverage there as far as like his timeline. I don't know his
timeline. They're trying not to react. I guess what is it, a hamstring or something? I don't know what it's from. Some from baseball. He tweaked in baseball. So that's going on there. But that's frustrating, right? Because baseball's not paying the majority of that salary, and so if you're getting hurt in baseball and you're missing football with a good amount of NIL. You're gonna have to hang up those cleats because or baseball's gonna have to start paying because we need you on the field, man. All right, game's starting, man. We have to.
All right, hold on, boys. Enjoy.
All right, fellas. Hey, chat. Thank you guys so much for coming on, and also remember, join Inside Texas for just $1, guys, and you get a full year of access to The Athletic. And this was the pregame show. Let's get a good win, not if we win, how we win. And then we'll be right on when the clock strikes 0 for the postgame. Have a wonderful game, y'all. Peace.